I am Hannah Brown. This is the Royal Mile Bar here with Poor People Podcast. Nailed it. First thing I'm going to do is a Pimms Cup. It's a traditional English cocktail made with Pimms liqueur, which I believe is gin-based. We got a couple cucumbers, a couple of lemons, and then we muddle them together. Then we get a shot of Pimms in here.
Are you nervous?
Only a little bit. And then we take it, we top it with lemon juice and soda water. So I'm gonna go do that really quick. And then we just usually serve it like that. It's a nice, refreshing summer drink. We get it a lot on the patio, especially during the summertime. I do have a mocktail for you guys. It's gonna be the Past Curfew. So what we do with that one, rim it with some spicy salt first. I think there's a little bit of like Old Bay and stuff in there as well. Just gives it a little bit more of a flavor profile. So then what we did with this one, we got agave, and lime juice, grapefruit juice. And then we just strain it into here. And this one also gets topped with soda with a little lime. I would say this one is probably our more popular of our non-alcoholics. We do get people that add like tequila to it, and it kind of makes for like a pseudo paloma. It's delicious. I love making it, so.
Cool. Nice. That'll work. Got it.
So good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Poor People.
Hello, I'm Anna.
I'm Jaydn.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Hannah from the Royal Mile.
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry, I always forget that I do the introduction and then I forget to do the part that we all agreed to do.
That's okay. That was good.
That works. That works out. Okay, yeah, we're at the Royal Mile. Technically the Red Monk, but the Royal Mile.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because it's like like this upstairs part is the Royal Mile, but they just call it the Red Monk.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it used to be like a Belgian bar, but we can't get a lot of the Belgian beers in anymore. So we just kind of made it an extension of the Royal Mile.
Mm-hmm.
We remodeled it so it's more like for our soccer groups.
Okay.
Which is a lot of fun up here.
Yeah.
So,
The
I didn't
soccer
even know.
scarves.
yeah.
Sorry. I didn't even know there was an upstairs here.
Yeah. A lot of people don't because
Yeah.
the stairway's kind of off to the side.
Uh-huh.
So,
Cool.
And your whole kitchen and like everything is up here too.
yep. Kitchen, dish room. There's a whole other bar, obviously.
So all your dirty dishes, everything like has to go
Yep.
up this flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We got to carry trays of food down. We got to carry bus tubs up.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I fall up and down the stairs when I'm sober. So yeah, there's no way I could ever be a bartender or server
Yeah.
walking up down those stairs.
Well, and there's carpet. There's
Yep.
carpet everywhere.
yeah.
Okay, wait. Before we get into all this stuff, let's learn about you a
Oh, yeah.
little bit. Let's learn about you. So,
Oh, well, I mean.
sorry,
It's okay.
I stopped. I don't know.
I have been working at the Royal Mile now for 4 years. Or this is my fourth year working. Started after COVID. Just kind of went through a couple changes. I've been in the industry since I was 17, so it's been 14 years now. Back of house, front of house, kind of doing everything. And I just wanted something that was a little bit more cozy. And I live like literally right around the corner, so it's easy to walk to. It's easy to come here and hang out. And it's just one of the best places I've ever worked for.
Do you currently work other places as well?
Yeah, I have a day job, which is the complete opposite of bartending. It's tax, title, and license for a car dealership,
Oh, okay.
which is not like super exciting, but I get to throw my headphones on and then I can still come here and get my social aspect, get some socialization in.
Yeah. That's pretty different to go from doing like tax and ID.
Yeah.
Not really talking to a whole lot of people and then like going and talking to
Yeah.
a lot of people
Right.
and things like that and getting people drunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So do you work weekends usually?
Yeah. I'm usually weekend mornings. I do pick up like during the week at sometimes like if somebody needs a shift covered or if, I'm looking for a little bit something during the week. But But I primarily work like Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings when we have our breakfast and our farmers market. All of our soccer groups usually come in around then. And it's a shift that, to be honest, nobody else kind of wants to work because it's the morning. Everybody wants to work at night when they can like have fun and like people are having fun with them. Because the morning crew is or the morning crowd that comes in is a little bit different. They're wandering the farmers market. They're looking for a little something more relaxed. And nobody wants to be honest, get in at like 7 a.m., which is like perfect for me because that's when I get in at my day job too. So it keeps, it just kind of keeps everything the same schedule for me. So.
Do you see bartending? I mean, you've been in the service industry for longer than all of us combined at this point. Oh, no, not combined. That'd be like 30 some years. But anyways, I don't know. But like when you have like a full-time job, 9 to 5, and then you bartend on weekends, do you see bartending more as just an outlet instead of a job that you have to like, go to every day and it's the hassle of, the rise and grind hassle?
I definitely like so I took a week off during from my day job during the World Cup so I could work here for a week. And honestly, working that week kind of reminded me why I only like doing it a couple days because it is like mentally draining to have to like put on that face every single day and like act like I'm happy all the time. And so I think that's kind of, I can just be at my desk at work and like I said, throw my headphones on and not talk to anybody. But I love coming here because it is more of like a job. If I guess if it takes too long, then it's a job for me.
Right.
But whereas right now it's just fun.
Yeah. That's very cool. Because I've kind of been that same way. Well, I kind of transitioned back and forth anyways. I was full-time bartending, serving, managing, and then I went down to only a few days a week. And, now I've kind of picked up a few more days. But I always looked forward to my bartending shifts. And it wasn't because it was like a job. It was just a different outlet than my regular job that I had at that time. And so, yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that because you have another job, right? And you have another job kind of too as well. But we all kind of like freelance in a way, So it's like we kind of depend on our bartending a little bit more than like somebody with a full-time job, I guess. But that's why I was asking that. So,
But people who only bartend full time, I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like they're angrier bartenders.
Really?
Like rightfully so,
Yeah.
in my
Oh, no.
opinion. Like,
Absolutely.
You don't say. I'm your full-time bartender. in this
Yeah.
room.
I mean,
I'm not so much angry. It's just that like I'm a very happy person and I've actually realized like how you said it's mentally draining. Like I don't go out of my way to yell at people. I don't go out of my way to be a jerk off. But like it was like what I talked about last week. Like you come at me in a certain way and it's like, why? Just like, and bartending full time, it's a lot of fun. I absolutely love it. But sometimes you fall out of love with it. And I'm just like, okay, I need to take a break and things like that. And I've taken a break this week only because I've had family things going on. And I've like realized like, oh, I really needed that. And that's okay. Like how Haley always says, it's okay to take a break. And it is. It really, truly is. But it's kind of hard because at the end of the night, when you're counting that money and you're making like, let's say $800 and you're like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
That guy was
Worth it.
like, whatever.
Yeah,
It's so worth it. But at the end of the day, it's not worth it when you work full time
Yeah.
and you have to constantly deal with it all the time and you don't really get a break from that. So when you get a break, you realize it's okay to get a break. It's okay to like not be a bartender. Maybe I do need to find a different job or like take a step back. Like that's all those things that have been running through other people's minds, but I do love it. I love the people I work with. I love the owners that I work with. And it's just, yeah, it's mentally draining sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I do want to say on that topic though, it is very mentally draining, especially if you're working full time, and you certainly get to that point where you are driving to work and you're just like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, you're
you
dreading
know,
to
and
work.
it takes however long your commute is. You just are dreading getting to your shift and clocking in, but when you aren't there as much, you get excited for that shift
Yes.
in like a different way.
Yep.
It's a normal way. It's a way that you're used to, but it's just not what you have been recently used to. So I had this idea where it's like, okay, so I was gone for like a month basically, and
Where'd you go?
Yeah, where
This
were
is
you?
Yeah, on tour.
I was on tour for a month, and when I came back, that first like 2 to 3 weeks I was back, every shift I'm pumped. I'm so pumped to come back to the job, and I'm like, even if it's slow, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is gonna be awesome. But then you get right back into your pattern, and you're just like, I had the thought the other day where I was like, I gotta go to work again. And it was like, so, but then the other thing is too, is I know that if I worked a 9 to 5, I would eventually dread that as well too. So I've been trying to find the brighter side of those shifts that I walk into that I don't want to be at.
Yeah.
And I've been taking it, and this is particularly for like bartenders, but I've been taking it in like the it's always sunny method. I'm like gonna coin this and patent this eventually someday. But going into your shift thinking that like anything is possible. Like essentially it's like always sunny, that somebody could walk in with news, and then the next thing you know, it's like if I have to shut down early, I have to shut down early and then be like, all right, that's it. We're gonna go shut down this fish market down the street. Like, you know, so like I've been trying to go into those shifts like that lately, and it really works. Like the other day, we were, you know how you whip towels like and they make the loud snapping sound. So we have beer pong. And we had beer pong balls, and we were bouncing them, and then I was trying to whip them in the air and like get them to shoot, and I couldn't get it. It's like it's really hard to do actually, but that was like the mentality that I had, was like, oh, I wonder if I can launch this ping pong ball with a towel that I whip in midair. And then it made like 4 hours go by super quick.
I think I just like working with people.
Yeah, that too.
Because I have 2 shifts that I don't really have another bartender with. And I just like working with the girls. It keeps it entertaining. It makes the day go by faster. We get to giggle and laugh. And if there's a person that I don't really want to serve, they can go and serve them for me. So yeah, I think I like working with people. I don't like my own, like just me shifts right now. I really like working with people, and it just makes me fall back in love with work. And like I dread going to work by myself because I got to do all the extra work. I don't have any help or anything like that. I mean, if some of them stay later, they'll help me close when they're there, but that's on a rare occasion. Now when I'm with everyone else and I'm closing at the end of the night, I'm closing with someone. I can like vent to them about like, did you see that guy? Did you see what he did? Or like, wasn't that customer just so awesome? They tipped us $100. Like that was a really good night. Just having the bar aftering. I really do like that, because 9 times out of 10 I'm like blaring the music and I don't want to talk to a single fucking person on my just me shifts.
Yeah. Well, this is gonna sound stupid, but like in the morning, the first thing I do is turn on the music here, because like that's my 1 hour that like I am without customers, and I'm like, we have servers here, so we obviously have some servers that are setting up the restaurant as well. But I'll turn on like Limp Bizkit radio and like just crank it, because I'm like, at that point, if a customer walks in, they know we're not open, because like
you're playing with biscuits.
yeah. It's like it's so dumb, but it gets me hyped for the shift, and then like I don't have to worry about like setting up like anything for myself mentally, because I guess the music is what gets me hyped up, just like you were saying, like you can close it down and like blare it when you're by yourself. It's kind of like the opposite there.
Yeah.
So
We at your end of your shift, how quiet is it in here? Like if someone drops a pen, you're like, don't you fucking make any more noise. Like, and it has to be silent.
Well, it's weird for me, because like when I get off at like 3:30 or 4, sometimes if it's busy, another bartender is taking over for me.
Okay.
And so like usually what I do is I'll just like, if I've had it, like I'll go to a place down the street and I'll be like in a quiet, different environment.
Come see me.
I know, I do. I like to come see you guys. But like then sometimes I just like to sit down at the bar, like if a server comes up to me and they want to like chat with me, I'm like, don't talk to me. Which is like I said, when you have those shifts that I feel like that, at least then I've recognized it and I can just like go somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you guys, like when we work the late nights, what kind of closer are you? Because as soon as I shut the door, music's going off, like it's silent. I'm getting everything done. as fast as possible, but I've worked with people who like just take their time and they don't care if they're there for an extra 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm not like that. So I'm curious what you guys do.
Well, it depends on if I'm working with someone.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, because I tell them like, hey, I'm gonna get this done, and then I'm gonna go stock a little bit, so we don't have to stock a whole lot. Like during the shift where we're not that, there's like a window where we're not that busy, so I can go in the back and go stock some stuff and whatnot. But if it's by myself, I'm there until like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, only because I'm like really deep cleaning everything. I'm stocking everything fully because I have to do the order the next day, 9 times out of 10 on a Monday, and then Thursday I like make sure everything's stocked. But yeah, it just depends on when I'm with people, because I don't want to take up too much of their time, and they don't want to take too much of my time. Like we all want to get out of there at a decent time. But lately
Sometimes
we've been.
can't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. We've just been hanging out after work.
Which can be fun sometimes,
Yeah,
but
for
some
sure.
nights it's like
We haven't really been doing that because the wintertime it's kind of cold and we want to warm up our cars and get going and go home. But like now that it's summertime, we're kind of like hanging out in there and just chit chatting and stuff. And my boss comes in after going and hanging out at his new club. But other than that, yeah, no. I'm sorry, Jay, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say too, it does depend also. It depends on if I'm working with somebody or not, and it depends on if I was busy or not.
Yeah.
And because if I'm by myself and I'm getting slammed, I'm not doing shit until close. You know, so then I'm gonna be there till 4, and I know that. But if it's super slow, I'm gonna start closing shit up. I'm gonna start like cleaning stuff by like 11 midnight, you know, just depending. And then that way I have like a system after that, once everything's clean, that I can just, you know, make a drink still or whatever and just put it right in the wash. Everything, I know everything else is clean. That's like my main way of closing when it's by myself and it's slow, I guess. But then if I'm with another person and we're slammed and it like gets to a slow period, I'm just gonna have that person like stock everything, and then that's it basically, and then I'll just clean at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
And then another question, do you guys wait to punch in your tips till the end of the night, or if you get a slow second, do you punch them in?
Both. Because we have that little window where we can actually get some of our tips in. And then at the end of the night, because we don't want to have a lot at the end of the night, but I don't like necessarily doing that when people are in the bar because I think it's rude. I think it looks like I'm being greedy and I just want to get like my money and go. And I don't want to showcase that because it's just, I don't.
How many like check receipts you have? I was gonna say, have you ever like come into a shift change and like the bar is just covered in receipts?
Yeah,
and,
with like all the clipboards everywhere.
That's
yeah.
the thing too. Like I grab the receipts right away. I don't like the wet receipt paper,
don't
so
either.
I grab it. But so yeah, sometimes I walk in and it's just like full of receipts. Or if I'm just going to a bar and there's a shit ton of receipts on the bar, I'll like gather. I don't know if I should do this. This could be annoying, but I'll gather them or like push them towards the bar so the bartender can get them.
Yeah, I wait usually till the end, but I have this theory that like if I get like a bad tip, like that's gonna set me off the whole day, and so I just don't even look at my tips until the end of the shift because it just like I like to have the same personality for every single person that I'm serving, rather than like, oh well, I just saw this tip was not that great, and so now the next person is not going to get the same experience as that person did, you know? But there are definitely times when like it's been a busy shift and I'm like, okay, I have a cool second. I'm going to start putting them in, and then whatever comes in the last like hour, then I just have those to do. So yeah.
There is someone that I follow on TikTok, and they posted about how, you know, when you get a bad tip, like, how do you feel about that? Like, we've talked about this before. And in the comments, someone was like, well, you need to ask your boss to pay you more hourly if you think that you need to get tipped more than 20% and all this other stuff. Like, how do you feel about that when someone says, like, well, your boss needs to pay you more?
I hate that because like I actually like look at the money that I make, and I'm like, oh, I make more money than what they would pay me if it was like $20 an hour or whatever, because that's always what people I feel like go to is like $25 an hour. I'm like, I feel like I make more than that in tips, so I'm not a fan of like that like, oh, pay me more. Like, I don't need it.
Okay,
It's
wait,
fine.
hold on. That's so funny we're talking about this right now and that you saw this thing on TikTok, because I saw something on TikTok today too, and it's this server from Texas Roadhouse, and we should just all watch it and like talk about it actually.
Okay.
I just found it too while we were talking. Okay.
Way to focus on the podcast, Jaydn.
and you'll tip me $0, then $3 of that would come out of my money.
How does
You might have to
Texas
take your
Roadhouse
headphone
pay?
off to be able
They
to.
pay us $2.13 an hour.
Okay, and then they'll match to minimum if you don't make that in tips, right?
Yes, that really happens though. So we make minimum wage if we were to make that.
If you didn't get tips to cover from that to minimum.
Yes.
So then how does tipping out work? So a lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We take 3% of our sales, and that's split amongst the buzzers and the hosts. So if the table tips you and doesn't tip you anything at all, then that'll come out of our personal money. Does that make sense?
so if it was like the whole night was like $1,000 worth of
Yeah.
food sold,
Yes.
you have to pay 3% of that
Yes.
out of your tips.
Yes. Honestly, all restaurants are like
And
that. So technically, say y'all's tab was like $100,
Yeah.
and y'all tip me $0, then $3 of that would come out of my money.
So if we don't, so we shouldn't tip you any of that. Is what you're
I
saying.
mean, I would pay to serve y'all, but I mean, y'all were fun, so
But yeah,
it would
so
be okay.
I saw that literally. Okay, hold on, sorry. But I saw that literally today, right before we started filming, and I didn't even know that that was legal. The
What?
fact that they can. So we make as like service bartenders like usually around $4.
Yeah.
it's like $4.25, $4.15, something like that. But what she was saying is that she gets paid $2 an hour.
That's different. In Texas specifically, they pay $2.13 an hour because we don't have a state tax. We don't have all that wasted money on government. But we don't have a state tax, so our minimum wage in Texas for a server is $2.13 an hour. Here it's like $4.50 or something.
But then the company pays the difference if they don't make.
yes, yeah.
that
So
in
it has
tips.
to. So if they don't
That's
make
fucking
if they
insane.
get stiffed by everybody, they're working for $7.25 an hour, whatever the state minimum wage is.
Yeah, with no tips. Yeah, that's insane.
Or what about like when someone does it?
God's country, my ass. I'm sorry, dude.
We don't
I'm
have
sorry.
state taxes. We have less shit we have to pay for. So
No,
whatever.
but more shit to deal with.
Also,
like ultimately, like
the
that's
first-
fucked, dude. If I was working for 2 hours and 13 cents an hour and just had to count like hope that I get minimum wage, I'm not working there. Like,
Well, no. I mean, the idea is the reason they undercut that is because tipping makes more money. So, I mean, it's the same thing
Potentially.
here. It's the same thing here. Your
I'm not
hourly
mad at you.
goes-
I'm mad at that TikTok.
your hourly goes towards your taxes. It doesn't. You don't see a paycheck hardly ever, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean,
even here.
I get the system. I think it's wrong still.
Well,
The
just
first. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. One sec. The very first comment on this is that I saw is having a full conversation about understanding the plights of a server while holding a stack of plates is so poetic.
yeah.
For real.
And then
Yeah.
at the end, when he's like, "So I just shouldn't tip you," she was like,
Yeah. She's
"I
like,
just
I was
well-
so
smiling
uncomfortable
through
for her the
it."
whole time. I was like, oh God.
But the thing is a lot of customers don't realize that we don't even make minimum wage.
Yeah.
And they're making even less than what we make, but they're still
So
guaranteed a certain amount.
if no one tips her at all night,
She's paying
she still has to pay
3%.
out of pocket to the bussers, the
Yeah.
host, and everything else. How does that make any sense?
The question is legality. Whenever Jaydn
Right.
brought that up, and legally they can't require her to do that. That's company policy.
Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you can cause a fuss, but
Okay.
it's kind of gauche to cause a fuss.
Yeah.
In a tipping job.
Yeah.
About tipping
Yeah.
people that helped you.
Yeah,
Well, and
because
see-
like you have to
oh,
tip out the
sorry.
bartender too.
Right.
So like you have to tip out all these people, and let's say that she didn't make anything on tips at all.
Right.
How is she supposed to tip out those people?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's coming out of her own money.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that I think is like where the legality of it is like essentially even if they're compensating that 7.15 and she makes that 7.15 by the end of her shift, but she still has to tip them out, then she's not even making a minimum wage.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's where I was like, I saw that and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, we've been bitching a lot on this podcast. and then there's people at Texas Roadhouse that are dealing with that shit. So I don't know. I just thought that was a good conversation. But the other thing is too, is I do think, So at the other restaurant that I work at and I don't know how it is here, but for hosts specifically, hosts aren't required to clean tables. And so with that, they like if it's busy, then yeah, they're supposed to like clean it off. If there's like not a single restaurant or not a single table in the restaurant, then they're supposed to clean it off and sit the next person. However, they're not required and they don't get tipped out. Like we don't tip out as a bartender and servers, we don't tip out our hosts. However, when I see a host like going out of their way, even if it's like slow or anything like that, and busting all my tables, I'm gonna give them $5, and each of them $5 or whatever, because it's the least I can do. And I think that they like appreciate that more, but they're still making minimum wage. So I think just all I'm getting at is like there's so many ways to go about like combating that, basically, where people are making under minimum wage or getting more than tips or whatever it is, and that was just one way I'd never heard of before.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you'd think that, I mean, ultimately the business is making all the money off of them, right? So like it just doesn't even seem feasible to work there. And like I don't know why anybody would. I don't know how they're even able to keep employees at that point. Like it just doesn't. I don't know. Sorry, I rambled for a second.
No, you're totally fine. When I have people that don't tip at my bar, they're actually doing me a huge favor by just sitting there making my bar look busy. So I understand that like you may not want to tip me, but thank you for even being in this establishment, because when you pay for a drink, you're essentially paying for like the drink and the taxes and like my paycheck, like paying me hourly and things like that. So I look at it that way. But sometimes it does suck because they have like an $80 tab and they only tip me $2, and it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. But your butt is in that seat and you're making my bar look busy.
That is a very positive way to look at that.
Yeah.
I've never once thought, I mean, I don't know. I wanted to ask y'all also, do you let not getting tipped ruin your day?
No.
I don't take it personally.
Yeah.
No, not until it's like on a $200 tab and I'm like busy and I'm running my butt off and you're demanding your shit. There's a difference. And I think we can all agree to that, because I pour a lot of tequila. I pour so much tequila. We should just be a tequila bar, but we're not. And I get it. No one wants to tip on like a $12 shot. Totally fine. But when I'm like going back and forth and you're getting rounds and rounds and rounds, and I'm walking outside with a tray and I'm, bringing you limes and salt and things like that, you're taking away from me to serve someone else that's going to tip me more than what you would. And that's where people need to see that. Like, I get that you don't want to tip me on all these shots, but like, just know that I'm walking to you. This is a service. Like, you tip your barber, you go there and you pay for it, whatever. But yeah, I think I wouldn't let it ruin my day unless it's like that. Yeah.
I had something kind of interesting come up at work. I'm bartending.
Oh yeah, our producer Mike is a bartender now.
Sorry, Hannah. This is Michael back here.
Oh, we go way back.
He's the voice in all of our heads currently.
So we have this group of individuals that come into the bar that I work at that they don't really tip, and that's fine, whatever. But this one guy came up and he's like, I need 2 Coronas, I need blah blah blah, I need this, I need that, blah blah blah. And then he paid me in drink tickets, which I didn't know was a thing, but we have gambling machines, and he paid me in drink tickets, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. I mean, fine. He had given me $30 in drink tickets previously. I thought the extra $5 was a tip. He gave me $20 on a $25 tab and said, oh, well, I gave you a $5 drink ticket extra earlier. So use that towards this.
No.
And I was like,
Is that
done.
is that your douche of the week? Are we getting into douche of the week right now?
Yeah, that is definitely douche of the week.
Let's get into douche of the week.
Maximum. Yeah.
That is such.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
that's
you
like
don't
giving
wanna-
a tip, and then when they're like, "Do you need any change?" and they're like, "No," and then you get a $5 tip, and they're like, "Oh, well, I gave you $5 before. Use that."
That's exactly what that was.
Dude.
God,
and
no.
I was like, all right, well, that's your last one of the night. I'm not serving you anymore. And I told
You said him?
Yeah,
You said
the manager. Yeah, the manager. I went by and I was like, hey, this just happened. So I'm cool on that guy ever again. And he's like, I was like, but what I was asking about earlier is you guys, do you let it ruin your day? It's part of the job. You don't get tips. Sometimes you don't make a tip. Fine, fuck it. All right, whatever. And if you let it ruin your day, you're going to let it ruin your career. You're going to hate every single thing about it. It's going to just fester and grow, and it's going to make you a shittier person.
Yeah.
If you just move on. But that kind of struck a nerve with me. I was fucking mad about that.
Oh, welcome to bartending.
Dude, I am not your bank.
That happened to me, something like that one other time where basically it was a big work party. A dude was drinking a lot, buying everybody shots, left me a tip on the bar, and then left before everybody else did. And then one of the other dudes that stayed took that 20 that was supposed to be my tip and used it for more drinks.
Kick him out.
Yeah. And I remember being like, oh no, I was like, he left that as a tip. Like he told me, he's like, no, he said that was shots for us. And I was like, okay, like, what am I going to do? Like at that point,
Do you have his name? We'll attack his bank account.
He already took,
Do you have his address? Let's throw a Molotov cocktail. Here's your shots, idiot.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you deal with that here, Hannah?
I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at earlier is that it all comes back around. One shift I might not make anything. The next shift might be one of the best days I've ever had. So I just try to go home and not let it bother me for the rest of the day because like you were saying, it's if I let it bother me, it's just gonna sit there and fester. And so I just kind of am more of a go with the flow. It's frustrating, but like I said, it all comes back around.
Same. Yeah, I agree. Do you ever retaliate without letting him know you're retaliating? Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't say I retaliate, but
retaliate isn't the word that it's just the only one I can think of, basically.
The other day I had one where the guy got a Coors Light or something, and I was like, oh, it's $4.55. And he hands me a $5 and he's like, keep the change. And I just brought him the change back because I was like, whatever.
That's retaliation in my head.
And he was definitely one of those people that was just wandering the farmer's market, came in, was going to have one and then leave. So I'm not pressed about it. I was just whatever. If he leaves it there. But then they did use the change to then buy the girl a drink as well. And I was like, oh, okay.
I definitely used to work with a dude that would get so mad if he didn't make 15%. And he was also the type of dude that when he was serving and okay, hold on, sorry. I have to word this carefully. So he was a great server, never wanted to be a bartender, but when the Dallas Cowboys were playing, he was so into that game. I've talked about him before on the podcast, but he was so into that game that it affected his tips, it affected his tables, it affected how he served in the restaurant, everything. And the Cowboys haven't done good in a long time, apparently, as far as I know.
Nope.
Yeah, as far as I know, because he was always pissed. And he was such a nice guy, but he would walk in and throw these, an adult man, in mid-30s, throwing temper tantrums. And then I couldn't tell, it got to a point where I couldn't tell if the Cowboys were losing or he wasn't making 15% on these tips. because I remember it was he had a table of two and bill was maybe $30 or something, and they gave him $5, and he's like, or I don't even remember, but he made 13% instead of 15. And I just remember him slamming his book on the counter, and I'm looking at my tips, and I'm like, oh, dope, I just got a $2 tip and a $1 tip. Fuck yeah, that's sick.
Golden Retriever Jaydn.
Yeah, literally, and this dude just freaked out and broke some plates and left over $2. So I didn't know if that shit ever happens here or anywhere else, basically, where people are visibly angry and they let everybody know that they're angry.
Not really. This is such a chill place that everybody is chill to work with, and you don't really see it a whole lot here. I've definitely worked some places where it's the same thing. They'll throw their book and they'll be like, ugh.
Yeah.
No. And I'm like, why? What's the problem? And it's oh, they tipped me 6 and the 20% should have been 7. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I don't care. That's $1.
Literally. As long as I'm making like $5, I'm usually happy.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm serving, bartending's a little different. Like, you can
Jaydn-
judge that differently.
Jaydn's like, oh, they gave me $4. How much is the check? Like $200. And they're like, I get to come in here and hang out with all these people, make cocktails, and they let me sweep the floor at the end of the night. Pretty fucking cool deal if you ask me. I made $7 yesterday.
That's really funny you brought that up because I remember my first ever serving shift. My first, and I will never forget this. This lives like in my head regularly. My first serving shift on my own. I'm making my own money, right? I walked out of a Wednesday lunch shift with $50. And I remember looking at the receipt and like my eyes got big, like $50. Like, holy fucking shit.
Rich. Were you
I'm taking my
10
girlfriend
years
out
old?
tonight. Like, we're going out on 10. Like, this is amazing. And then I remember even asking the closing server, like, can I just like stay on? And I obviously didn't realize how cutting worked at that time, but yeah, I just remember asking him that, and he was like, well, I've never had anybody say that to me before. And also, you got to talk to the closer, but I'm going to tell you right now, she's going to tell you no.
Oh, that's very wholesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a douche of the week?
Oh yeah,
actually-
we were on. Yeah, that totally sidetracked.
Sorry,
us for
I'll
douche
cut
of the
that
week.
in. I didn't have. I have.
That is your douche of the week.
Yeah, that's probably the douche of the week. I have a silly story, but that I don't have to tell it.
Go ahead.
Well, let's
y'all
all
get into your douche of the
Yeah,
week.
let's all do our
Alright,
douches
This
of the week.
isn't the Michael show.
Wait.
I'll go last.
When
I'll
you-
go last
when
because I
you-
got to think of mine.
Did we want to do happy hour first and then do douche of the week, or do douche of the week then happy hour?
I mean, we already started with douche of the week, so
Okay. So we're just gonna.
we'll just do happy hour right after douche of the week.
Okay.
And then we'll go back into whatever.
Okay, cool. Douche of the week.
I've got one.
All right,
Yay.
let's hear it.
This weekend, it was like decently busy. We had a lot of stuff going on, like with Hamilton. We get a lot of stuff from like the Civic Center shows, and
Wait, Hamilton was this weekend?
yeah.
Did you know
it was like a
this?
2-week show? Yeah.
The fuck? I still haven't seen
You
it.
had a lot of
Yeah,
time.
I haven't
I've
seen
been
it
really
either.
wanting
Yeah.
to see it. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. And there was a guy that came in, paid with gift cards, and then like it was like every single one. It was like, oh, that worked, and I'm like, yeah, I ran the gift card and it worked. Yep, so then he would leave me a tip, and then I go to put my tips in, and none of the tips will work.
No.
Because he had used the rest of the gift card, and I was like, so I'm just out like, it wasn't a whole lot. Like it was like I think collectively maybe like $5 or $6, but it was like, man, are you gonna do this every time you come in?
Yeah.
Like, it just irritated me, and it's still like it's been living rent free in my head since then, and I'm like, it's just like the little tiny thing.
And he probably still thinks that he tipped you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I recently so whenever I get gift cards, I always get nervous.
Yeah.
Like, are they gonna have enough money to tip me? Because the tip comes out of the gift card.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always get super nervous whenever
Yeah.
because I don't think a lot of people realize that. Same thing with like the minimum wage thing.
Yeah, like if I have a gift card that I'm paying with, like I'm bringing cash so I can tip cash, because like I don't even like tipping on gift cards. I think that's like, I don't know, it's like weird to me.
It is weird because I know for a fact that I'm going to use that entire gift card.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Goes through a lot of PBR.
I get an Outback Steakhouse just for the PBR.
It won a blue ribbon.
That would be so funny to do. I still have an Outback Steakhouse gift card.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's got $25 on it. Okay.
Haley, what's your douche of the week?
Do you have one? You go ahead.
I don't really have one because I haven't really been working.
Oh, shoot.
shit.
Okay.
So like, I think mine is just my douche of the week is for you guys because I haven't been working. So
Wait, we're the douches?
No, I'm the douche because I should be working and I don't have anything. So like you guys had to work and deal with people, so I'm the douche of the week because I didn't have to work.
It's douche of the week again. Oh, how many times is this gonna happen?
I remembered my douche of the week. I can go. Okay, so I have two. Well, no, I have one. We'll just make it one. Okay, so they told me specifically also they didn't want to be douche of the week. So we had to make this a reel also.
When you know it's gonna be good.
No, they're super great. They're super great people. The one thing, and it's not even really a complaint, I don't think. But the one thing is that they come in, they're great people. They have a great time
Spit it
every
out.
time. No, that's literally the thing, is that they just have too much fun. And they like and they're so nice about it, and they're never like belligerent by any means, but it gets to a point where it's like, you know, you're oh god, I shouldn't say this. They're so nice. No, but they
You just look at your watch and you're like, yeah. So you,
it's just
you think
like,
it's time to go
yeah,
home yet?
it gets to a point where like the talking is just like going on too long,
Yeah.
and I'm like trying to serve other people, and
Yeah.
it's like not even really a pet peeve, and they're not the douche of the week, but I'm making them douche of the week because they said that they didn't want to be, and I told them that they would still be it. So my douche of the week is them basically, but they're great people, and I love them very much, but they definitely talk a lot. Definitely talk a lot, which isn't a bad thing. And if anything, it makes my shift very interesting. But yeah, I think that's my douche of the week is when they come in and have a little too much fun.
Yeah.
And it's never like they get kicked out either. It's just
Jen, you're getting a little too chummy with
I'm
this
sorry.
douche of the week.
I don't
Say
know.
something
I don't
mean
know
about
how to
him.
fucking say it without
This is
being.
not going to be an
Okay.
entertaining
I'm
reel
going to
at
be
all.
their douche of the
But-
week if I say it mean.
Do you think when people know you as their bartender, they get a little bit more comfortable
Oh,
drinking at the
absolutely.
bar
Yeah.
because they kind
Absolutely.
of know that they can maybe cross some lines and not get kicked out?
And I think it was just one of those days for me where I just kind of had it. But like when they came in, I was very excited to
Yeah.
see them. But then it just kind of like added to my like, all right, I'm over it.
Are they
feeling.
like the
Yeah.
kind of people that like when you start walking away because you're like, I gotta go do
Yeah,
something else,
and
then
they're
they'll just
talking to
keep
you.
talking
Keep talking.
Someone across the
Start
bar. That's
yelling.
exactly
Yeah.
them. Yeah. And it's like I don't want to be rude, but it's like I'm walking away from you and you're screaming at me from across the bar. It's like I'm holding this tray of plates, like I'm taking this to the dish.
Yeah.
And they like you know, like
They
no,
just follow you back there.
No, I would prefer that even. I would almost prefer that because then I can at least be like, uh-huh.
You guys want to help me?
Yeah.
do this?
That's the most Midwest shit ever. It's just there's an assembly line of dishes. Oh, we're just trying to help out now, don't you know?
Well, because it does feel bad when you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
You just like turn and walk away, you know, like, and I do that a lot, but
Yeah.
like I didn't want to do that to them, you know, so I'm like still agreeing with them as I'm like walking away, you know, like, and so yeah, they're my douche of the week.
Haley.
All right. I had this girl. So people like to request songs a lot, which I don't mind if I'm not like too busy. But then at one point she was like, "Can I just like plug? Can I just have aux?" And I'm like, "Sorry, no. Like, there's no way for you to
$50 for
do
the
that."
aux.
Right.
For 2 minutes.
Right. But then she started like coming back towards where the iPad is and like behind the bar. She was like trying to come behind the bar, and I'm like, it's not super busy. I'm trying to be nice, but like, I'm so sorry, but like, you cannot be behind the bar. And she tried to like fight it. She was like, no, let me just do this. I'll find the song for you. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but like, you have to move. And I like started to like move her body, and then I'm like, maybe I should cut her off also. But that's really, yeah. And then she didn't talk to me again. She was like pouting because I told her she couldn't come behind the bar.
That's a reel we're making. When
Like,
the bartender
you
tells
know-
you can't pick a song, and then you're at the end of the bar, like,
Last summer at the lake, that was the worst. Is I'd have people. The worst was like a musician's mom was like coming back behind the bar, and she just walked back there to talk to me. I'm in the middle, like I'm growing extra arms, trying to shake more cocktails. And she's like, "Hey, by the way, I don't want salt on that margarita." And I'm like, "Karen, get the fuck out of here."
I love it when they pout though, when you tell them no, because they think that like since they're like, oh yeah, no, and it's like, no,
They get offended, but you crossed the line
Dude.
and made me uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and you're pouting.
yeah, don't make me feel guilty because you can't get your way.
Right.
Okay. I have something to add on to this basically, but like I actually never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay. All right, you want to move on to happy hour?
Yeah,
then?
let's move on to happy hour.
I have stuff for happy hour.
Okay, good.
I think it's just my coworkers. I had one of my old coworkers came back, and now she's like picking up shifts and helping us out, and then like just having people help me out with when I need like my shifts covered and things like that. Even
How old is your coworker? Like 60 or?
no, no.
Dumb
No.
joke. Nobody got it.
No.
Cool. All right. You said one of your old coworkers.
Oh, sorry. So someone that used to work there. Anyways, completely over my head. But yeah, no, I
Sorry.
think it's just nice that when we need helped out and people just are like, yeah, I can definitely do that. And even if it's last minute and things like that with the emergencies and stuff, I think that's very nice of people to do that.
That's nice that you have coworkers like that. I feel like
It's nice that you have coworkers.
I just know if I text in the group chat like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I need this shift covered," silence. Like
Oh,
no one's
every
responding.
time. And okay, so I actually kind of wanted to bring that up. Anyways, Hannah, did you have anything you wanted to talk about for your happy hour?
I guess,
or
like-
to add on to that.
I don't know. Mine is kind of the same as Anna. Like I love all the coworkers that I have. They're just so easy to get along with. We can hang out outside of work. Like you were saying, if shifts need covered, we've had stuff come up super last minute, and everyone here is super willing to help with anything else. And just having like that group of people around you all the time is so happy.
And so important too.
Yeah.
And it's really cool too, I think, as a customer to like walk in to like hear, for me anyways, like as a customer, that when I walk in here to see the people that I've like grown to know over the years, just either through mutual friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But like right before we were filming this podcast, we were talking about how one of the other servers came up here, and he was like, oh, like I kind of remember you, like, what's up, dude, and whatever. And basically, me and the producer Mike, our head producer of our team of hundreds of producers now at this point, we were in here one night and we were just bullshitting with him, and somebody came up and was like, oh, I'm Caleb or something, but he was giving a fake name, and then I'm butchering this story, but basically our like actual server like came up after that and then was like, oh, I'm the other guy. And then we were like, oh yeah, Caleb's a dick, dude. Like, and then we didn't realize until the end of like him serving us that he was Caleb, but they had like switched names. But all of us, including the server, was also talking shit about Caleb. So it was just really funny, but like it was cool for us to like walk in here and still see those dudes again, and then be
we
like,
don't have a lot of turnover here. Like it's the staff that has been here has been like the same pretty much as when I started.
yeah,
At one point I was the newbie, and I think we have like 2 newbies now, but like other than that, it really hasn't changed over a whole lot, and that's really great too.
it is good too, and that means a lot, and that says a lot for this establishment. Just that the ability to retain employees is super strong. Yeah. Sorry, I totally derailed.
No, you're totally fine.
Totally derailed.
Does anyone else have any topics
For happy hour?
Last call.
for last?
Oh, no. Wait, no, not last call yet, dude. It's not even fucking 2 a.m. in the morning, dude. I didn't do my happy hour yet.
Oh, do it.
All right, well, just give me a second, dude. Chill, God. Hold on.
I thought that was your happy hour.
I mean, yeah, kind of, I guess. Yeah, you know what? That is my happy hour. All right, last call.
Okay, I have a silly one.
Okay.
A silly question for you guys. When you wash your dishes, I like to wash cups of the same size at the same time. Do you guys do that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And then I have one that's maybe sillier.
I don't know. That one was pretty silly.
Whoa!
I didn't know if that's just me and like some slight OCD. I don't know.
I definitely like pick the same glasses, but then if there's like 2 glasses that are left that are not the same glasses, I'm not gonna wash them one by one.
I'll throw one
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, that's what I do. When I'm making drinks and I'm trying to remember which drink is what, I choose straws that I think like correlate with that drink. Like if it's like a peach crown, I put an orange straw in there, and I'm like, okay, I know that's peach.
Oh yeah,
might-
or like
That's a good idea.
3 straws for diet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll do stuff like that.
I don't have colored straws though.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't either.
Yeah,
Okay.
but most of our drinks that are in tall glasses are juices and Red Bull, and then our short glasses are like a Jack and Coke or Crown and Coke and things like that.
Well, how do you differentiate like Jack and Coke, a Captain and Coke, a
How I pour them.
Yeah.
So then you just like keep them in order when you pour them.
Yeah, so like if I had a Jack and Crown, so like the Jack,
A Jack
would
and Crown.
or well, if I had a Jack and a Crown,
Sorry.
I would
I
literally.
want to party with that guy.
Yeah, dude, I do. Dude.
I would take the Crown and put it in my left, and take the Jack and put it in my
Right.
right, and then pour it, and then I'd
Okay.
hand it to them that way.
Do you ever do that where you're like pouring multiple drinks and then you're like you like immediately set them in the well and then you're like, oh fuck.
I've handed people drinks, and I'm like, good luck figuring this shit out if you don't like
Oh
Jack.
no.
And they just look at me like, you don't. I go, no, I don't. I have so much going on right now. Just take it. Just have
Isn't
fun
it the
sipping
worst feeling though? Because you're like, that's a Mick Ultra, and they're like, I ordered a Coors Light, and you're like, oh, that's the Coors Light. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 'cause-
I'm pretty sure.
And you're like, oh wait, hang on. Did I pour it? And he's like, I don't know. You're the bartender. You're the one who's pouring the drinks. I'm like, you're right. Have fun drinking it. Like, just, here you go.
That's like my tip of the day is like when you have like multiple beers and you don't know what they are and they're all domestic or whatever is just oh yeah, that's Coors or whatever. You say what their order is, and then if you're not sure what you got them after the fact, you just don't ring it in until you go back and get their second beer.
Yeah.
And then you ring in 2.
Yes.
Because I've definitely done that before. I
Same.
have this big order of beers and then I bring it to the table and then I'm like, okay, I know what was ordered. I don't know who ordered what. So I'm just going to leave this blank for like 30 minutes or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep. I've caught myself smelling a beer because, you know, like when you get like a liquor drink, you can smell the Crown or the Jack or Jameson or whatever. And I went to go smell the beer and the guy caught me and I was like, why did I just do that? Why did I just do I'm so sorry. And I poured it out and I poured him a new beer and he goes, why did you do that? I go, because I'm used to smelling like the drinks that I'm trying to figure out, like liquor drinks.
Yeah.
I can tell by the smell, but like with the beer,
Yeah.
they ain't working.
Another thing too that I've been told is that the way that you can tell like the difference between whiskey and rum is that whiskey foams up
Huh.
when it's like mixed with a mixer.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
That's what
noticed
I've been
that
told.
rum tends to like sit at the bottom. So like when
Yeah.
you hold it up, like it's like clearer at the bottom. And
Yeah, yeah.
I don't. It's more prominent with like when you see like Malibu. Malibu
Yeah.
will always sit at the bottom.
Yeah.
But like that's just how I kind of see it. But
Yeah, if I pour you a liquor drink and you catch me like going like this, it's because I'm trying to figure out which is what and I'm smelling in your drink. I'm sorry.
I just imagine like all these shots lined up and you're just like
Taking a line of liquor.
you're like Captain Joe. You're just like all this shit. I wonder if they do smell tests for like bartending competitions. Maybe that's the next Pour Wars that we do. It's
write that down. Write that down.
It's just a smell test.
Wow, Jaden.
Is that a
was
good
one.
idea?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Write this down.
Blind squirrel gets a nut every now and then.
Everybody remember this moment.
I got it. We're on
Okay,
there.
wait. There was one other thing. If I can remember it though, I can't remember it. It was something along the lines of what we were talking about just before this.
I don't know.
Okay, doesn't matter then.
Yeah, it's probably a bad idea.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Yeah,
I-
wrap it up.
I
Okay,
do
wait.
have kind of a
It was
nuts-
another last call that I had. Okay, but sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
I have kind of a nuts funny story about the bar that I work at. This was going to be my douche of the week, I think. But how do you guys handle like domestic fights at the bar?
What?
oh,
The most insane experience
Wait,
of my life.
Should we save the whole story for Patreon?
Yes.
Maybe we save it for Patreon.
Yeah.
It's not that crazy. I mean,
No,
nothing-
No,
but
no.
but it was funny.
But just in terms of time and because it is a really funny story, we should save it for Patreon.
okay, that's fine.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll save it for Patreon, and,
All right.
and then we'll wrap it up here. I can't remember what my last call was, but maybe it'll come to me during Patreon.
Okay.
Anyways, thank you so much, Hannah, for being here, Royal Mile for letting us take up this space, and make sure that you follow us on Patreon. We're about to get into that, and that's going to be all of our uncensored, explicit. What's the other word that I say? Uncensored something.
Unfiltered?
Unfiltered?
What is it?
I can't remember. Anyways.
Uncensored, exclusive,
Exclusive.
content. By the way, I do have
I said explicit.
one last call.
All right,
let's
last call.
thank Regal
Yes,
Beagle.
very much.
They freaking killed it. Sponsored our episode with Maddie Rangel. Got him out here. We had a great time out there. That bar is fantastic. If you're over on the west side of Des Moines for whatever reason, go check it out. It's my favorite bar.
And it's also the bar that our producer currently works at.
Yeah, insanely cheap drinks, friendly
good
atmosphere, and it's kind of a Three's Company themed bar. So,
And you might see a chick fight there.
yeah, that is possible. nice foreshadowing.
And you'll find out more about that story on our Patreon. All right. Anyways, make sure you follow. What's the socials for Royal Mile?
It's at Royal Mile Bar. And you always want to put the bar because the Royal Mile is also a place in Scotland. So you always want to do Royal Mile Bar.
Okay.
They're pretty active on Instagram. And I think most of their posts go to Facebook too. So
Okay.
Cool.
Oh wait, did you have questions for us, or do you want to save it for
No,
Patreon?
it's okay.
Do you want, we'll save it
No,
for Patreon.
yeah, it's fine.
We'll save it for
Yeah.
Patreon. Just if you had to be subscribed to our Patreon in order to hear Hannah's questions for us. Okay. Anyways, so with that, make sure you follow Royal Mile. Thank you to Regal Beagle for sponsoring Maddie Rangel last week, and make sure you follow Poor People on everything. And with that.
For
Richer for poor. Thanks for watching Poor People.
You guys want me to post that we have koozies on our story?